What should we do? You guys want to talk about what happened last weekend with Pixel?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah?
I'm game.
So on Friday, April 28th, Tanya and I had tickets to a Broadway show in Denver. One of our favorite dates. We go to dinner and we go see a Broadway show. And this time we have a new member of our family. Pixel Haiku is our Alaskan Klekai. She's between 8 and 10 pounds. She's about 11 inches at the shoulder. She's a bi-eyed female and just a beautiful, beautiful girl and kind of the light of our family right now. She's just kind of, the center of all the attention. We've had her for about 5 months.
Right. But she's 2 years old, but
Yeah.
we've had her for about 5 months.
Yeah. And so it's just been really, really awesome having her here. We love her. She's a part of our family. For some people, dogs are just pets, but at our house...
part of the shit, part of the crew.
Yeah, exactly. At our house, they're members of the family. So we were excited to go on this trip, and we've kind of been taking Pixel everywhere. Like wherever we go, she goes. And so we've actually rearranged Airbnbs and made other arrangements at different places so that she would have a place to stay with us, So she's just part of it. So we wanted to bring her to Denver with us because we were staying with Tanya's parents, and we wanted to introduce them to their new granddog, and they had agreed to watch her while we went to dinner.
Right. We were super excited. They were super excited to meet her too, because they've been seeing all of our posts on Facebook. They live out of state. And so yes, they were super excited for us to bring her. So we packed everything up and we head through, and it's, the weekend is going to be rainy. It's going to be cold. It's raining as we're driving in, and we're just like, oh gosh. Okay. So, we get there, we do the quick intros, and Dave and I, had to get ready, to go to our show.
Yeah. We were kind of off to the races, It was, it wasn't in and out, but it was close to,
Yeah.
we
About an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our date, our favorite date, that we do, we go to Sam's, number 3, and then we walk a block, back up to the Buell in Denver. So we had our dinner, and it's about 10 minutes before they open the doors to allow people to find their seating. So we're standing there, we're waiting in line, and I don't remember if I wanted to send a text to check on her or what I was doing, where I was like, where's my phone? And then we didn't know, oh gosh, did you leave it at Sam's or did you leave it in the car? And I wasn't positive either. So David was like, well, I'm going to go check the car. It's just the parking garage is right there. I'm going to run to the car and see if it's in there. That way, if we had to run the block up to Sam's, we would know. So he goes to the car, and thank God he did find my phone, and he came back, and we've got like just a couple minutes left till they open the doors.
Yeah. And so we get in, we had a laugh about it. I actually sent Tanya some texts. I was like, hey, your phone's in the car. And her phone lit up in my hands because I was holding it, and I was like, "Oh!"
The next text said, "Dang it!"
so I was just I had debated a little bit. I was like, maybe I should just leave it here since it's already here. But I put it in my pocket and brought it back, and so now we're in the Buell. We have the best seats maybe that we've ever had.
Oh, it was perfect.
Yeah, we were super excited.
Perfect view of the whole stage.
There's a huge buzz. We've made friends with everybody around us. The people in front of us, people behind us. We're taking pictures. We're just doing all the fun stuff that happens at a Broadway show. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, Tanya gets a text message, like curtain's coming up.
Right, it's about 5 minutes till curtain.
Yeah, people are coming onto stage, and it's getting serious, right? And then Tanya gets this text. And the text is from her mom, and it says, Pixel is missing, and she's been gone for about 30 minutes.
So I see that on my phone, and I look at Dave, and I don't want to dishonor the tickets, but we got to find our dog. And I'm like, what do you want to do? And Dave's like, well, let's go. So I was like, oh, good. So we stand up, we scoot out of our row.
Excuse me.
Yeah, we're like right in the middle. I mean, they were great seats, and everybody's who was around us like, where are you going? We're like, family emergency, we have to leave. And so we scoot out, we hit the car, and we just start praying. And then we rush home or to my parents' house. We rush to their house, and we just get ready to start looking.
Yeah, we were trying to kind of fight that panic initially. And the first thing I said was not positive. The first thing I said is, oh my gosh, we're never going to find her. And Tanya was quick to say, hey, you gotta get on your confession game. Like, we need to pray and we need to
trust God,
lock down, because Pixel is very evasive, and I don't think an Olympic athlete could catch Pixel if she didn't want to be caught.
Right. Well, she is very evasive. She's fast. She's also dark, and we're losing light. And so we just have to keep confessing we're going to find her.
Yeah, and it turns out, we didn't know this till the end of the story, but her ability to evade and be elusive probably actually ended up saving her life.
Right.
Yeah. So there we were. We made it back to Tanya's parents' house, which they live in Thornton, and it took us another 30 or 35 minutes to get there. So now Pixel has about a 40 or 45 minute head start before we got the call, and another additional 30 or 40 minutes after that. So, dogs can cover a lot of ground in that amount of time. So Tanya jumps in the car with her dad, and we just like, let's just split up and canvass the city and see if we can't, wrangle her in quickly.
Right. David's still in his clothes from the Buell. Dave drops me off at the house, and I quickly change my clothes, which still weren't ready for the weather that we were experiencing.
Yeah, we didn't go down there with the purpose of trudging through fields and running out in the rain. We planned for a kind of a nice fancy night.
Right. So
yeah.
So David's in his dress up clothes to go to the theater, and I changed into jeans and some tennis shoes and a hoodie, but that was not a lot as far as to hold up against the rainy and the storm that we had. And then I went in my dad's car for a little while, and my dad and I split up at some point. He drove through certain neighborhoods, and he drove through neighborhoods to get to a certain point, and I walked up another street outside of a fence. So we would meet up at a point where we thought she might have gone.
Right. And I think your point, correct me if I'm wrong, but your point wasn't like, oh, poor us, we were in our dress clothes. Point was
we weren't ready for this.
We weren't ready. It's rainy, it's cold, it's windy.
And it's an emergency situation. You do what you have to do to find this little girl lost in we have no idea where, in a storm. Yeah,
and it turns out that your brother Michael immediately posted onto a website called Nextdoor, and we got a hit almost immediately. We got a tip from somebody, and she was actually a little mad, which was okay, but she was mad. She's like, I almost hit your dog, and Michael was like, where are you? And she said, I'm at 144th in Colorado, and that's like 4 or 5 miles from your parents' house. And so we're thinking, well, it's been so much time, she could be down there. So we buzzed down there. If you're familiar with the intersection, it was very busy intersection. There's fields on all 4 corners, and it's muddy and rainy, and we're just out there yelling.
And by this point, dark, very dark.
Very dark. Yeah, and so I ended up calling Michael back and to find out if he'd gotten any better information, and he said, well, that lady who gave me that tip kind of walked it back, and she thinks that maybe she saw Pixel crossing the street towards the fire station, which is much, much closer to the house. So we kind of brought our search a little tighter at that point to accommodate that new update.
Right, and so we're roaming neighborhoods, calling for the dog, and I'm in my dad's car, and I think it was at this point that I texted both of my kids they're adult. They're texted both of my adult kids to pray.
Heaven received that call. What was that like? Like, what did I wasn't privy to. I wasn't on that thread. Like, so how did that come across? What were you doing? Like, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it started off kind of like your guys' day, but my version of a perfect day. So like Friday the 26th, I'm just I have the house to myself. I got to spend the whole day just kind of chilling alone, And it's almost, I'm in bed by the time I receive this text. I have my tea, I have my show on, and it was almost like a delayed reaction. I read it over the first time, not understanding it. And I go back and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, oh my God, our family member is missing and it is raining down there. Like, so yeah, I just instantly started praying, like tea forgotten, show abandoned, like new priorities.
Yeah, like a new focus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so at that point, your mom and I were just kind of wandering the neighborhood as best we could using the tips that we had. We had another person say that they saw her on 139th and Jackson, which is not close to the fire department. It's deeper towards your parents' neighborhood.
Yeah, so it would make sense that she would go through that way because she crossed through yards to get that direction.
Correct, but the way the information came in
Was backwards.
and so we didn't know if she was out towards the fire department or at 139th and Jackson. And so we spent the greater part of that evening searching a very localized area right around your parents'
Searching
neighborhood.
the subdivision.
And it's a beautiful subdivision, and they've got tons and tons of dog-friendly trails, and so you could just...
They have ditches, though, as well, and it's dumping rain. So there's ditches, there's culverts, there's all big storm drains.
Yeah, so it's great. It's a great it's a great option when your dog is on a leash. But if you're looking for a dog, there's like a million places where your dog could hide.
Right.
And that's kind of the situation we were in. And so we just kind of wandered the neighborhood. We ran into some people who were out and about, some very nice people. We were like, hey, our puppy has escaped and we can't find her. And some people were like, I'm going to get in my car right now. I'm going to help you right now.
Keep in mind, as we're approaching them, it's still raining. It's still pouring. So they're coming out in the rain and in the mud to help us search.
Yeah, exactly. And so we stayed out. Like Tanya said, it's raining pretty hard. We got the windshield wipers on. We're trying to fight. When the it's real rainy out, your windows fog up. We can't hardly see anything.
Yeah.
So we're like, man, it's going to be a miracle for us to spot the dog if she's even out here.
Right.
And that brings up a total double-edged sword. If she's out here, we're scared because she's out in the dark being wet and cold. And if she's not out here, she's hiding somewhere. We don't know where she's hiding.
Right. And it's all, as far as since she's been with us, that kind of environment is not familiar to her. She sleeps in our bed. She's
on a pillow.
She's the highest of comforts, and now she's in like the lowest of lows.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a real scary night. So we stayed out until about 2 a.m, and it was so rainy. We didn't mind the miserableness of it. As far we would have stayed out there until daybreak if we thought it was going to be fruitful.
Right.
But 2 o'clock, we're like, what we need to do is we've done all we can do. We've talked to everybody. Let's go back to your parents' house. So we kind of used your parents' house as our home base, or base of operations, where we could get food and a little respite in between searching. And so we head back to your parents' house. This is about 2 o'clock in the morning, and our hearts are now completely set on daybreak. We're thinking two things are going to happen at daybreak. We're either going to find the dog, or she's going to be turned in to Riverdale, which is their animal shelter. And so we go to bed. It's about 2 a.m. and then we get up at 4 a.m. the next day.